Since West Asia plunged into that war, the U.S. and Israel continue to rain missiles and drones into Iran as of now. Tehran remains defiant and is hitting back at the U.S. and Israeli military assets. U.S. President Donald Trump making it clear in no uncertain terms that there will not be any deal with Iran unless it surrenders unconditionally. In fact, he also boasted that U.S. and its allies will work to boost Iran's economy after the selection of a quote-unquote acceptable leader. Residents of Tel Aviv woke up in the morning to sounds of blasts as Iran launched a wave of missiles and drones towards key locations, and this left several people injured while damaging infrastructure. Trails of interceptions were visible in the sky amid the exchange of fire between Israel and Iran. And in that attack, the IRGC claimed to have used missiles which have a range of nearly 1,450 kilometers. Iran also announced that its drones have targeted American military bases in Kuwait in large numbers over the last few hours. Sirens blared in Kuwait City as the defense forces tried to intercept the projectiles. Kuwait's defense ministry has said that 67 of its soldiers have been injured over the past week. Tehran also claimed to have struck a U.S.-owned oil tanker near the borders of Kuwait. Meanwhile, explosions were heard near Erbil Airport in Iraq's autonomous Kurdistan region, which hosts U.S. troops. Additionally, oil production at an oil field operated by a U.S. firm was reportedly halted owing to an Iranian drone attack. Iran, meanwhile, has threatened to target all facilities in the region if the Kurd fighters are allowed to enter its territory. Iran also made another sensational claim. It asserted that American THAAD radars located in the UAE and Jordan and the over-the-horizon radar located in Qatar had been destroyed by IRGC's missile and drone units. Other countries in West Asia have also not been spared. Bahrain accused Iran of striking a hotel and 2 residential buildings in its capital city. According to Qatar, its naval forces were inside these buildings but were unharmed. Earlier, Doha claimed to have thwarted an Iranian drone attack on the Al Udeid airbase as well. Iran also continues to target Saudi Arabia. Riyadh has said that it intercepted and destroyed 3 drones unleashed by Iran. The UAE also remains on guard. The residents of Dubai received an alert on their phones urging them to take shelter from the potential missile threats. Until now, the UAE has claimed to have intercepted over 1,000 drones, 250 ballistic missiles, and 8 cruise missiles. And with the war spreading across multiple parts, the casualties continue to mount. Iran's death toll has now surged over 1,300, whereas multiple U.S. military personnel have been killed till now. Israel's intensified attacks have also resulted in at least 52 deaths in Lebanon so far. Now, Israel has also stepped up the ante. It claimed to have destroyed more than 60% of Iran's ballistic missile launchers in a big statement of intent. In fact, 50 Air Force jets reportedly destroyed Ayatollah Khamenei's underground bunker in the heart of Tehran. Explosions rocked Iran's capital as the IDF launched another wave of strikes on the country's infrastructure. Israel also released footage of the alleged destruction of 6 Iranian ballistic missile launchers, which were headed towards its territory. It also conducted large-scale strikes on Lebanon, striking the alleged headquarters of Hezbollah and 10 high-rise buildings belonging to the outfit. Now, this also left behind a trail of destruction with destroyed buildings, thousands of people being asked to evacuate in order to save their lives. As per reports, Lebanon finance minister's son was also injured during the IDF operations. And the U.S. persisted in its relentless bombing of Iran. The CENTCOM chief, meanwhile, revealed that the U.S. has struck close to 200 targets in the last 3 days alone. He also claimed that ballistic attacks from Iran have decreased by 90% since day one.
In just the last 72 hours, America's bomber force has struck nearly 200 targets deep inside of Iran, including around Tehran. And in just the last hour, U.S. B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers.
America also released a video showing an alleged Iranian drone carrier being hit by its strike. Iran has yet to comment on this specific claim. Earlier, Trump said that he will not accept Khamenei's son's ascension to power. He insisted to have a say in the selection of Iran's next supreme leader. Trump also claimed that Iran was reaching out for talks. However, Iran's president rubbished this speculation. While maintaining that Iran is committed to lasting peace in West Asia, he stressed that there will not be any compromise in defending the country's sovereignty. With both sides unwilling to restart negotiations, it seems apparent that we are in for an extended spell of war. And with the war raging on, a new superpower seems to be entering the fray. Reports emerging that the Kremlin has been tacitly supporting the Iranian war machine with precise intelligence to bleed American forces. New reports from the Washington Post suggesting that Russia is now acting as Iran's eyes in the sky. And according to officials, Moscow is allegedly providing real-time satellite intelligence to target American warships and aircraft, a move that marks, in a way, the indirect entry of a nuclear-armed rival into the conflict, it seems. These are reports, no official confirmation, of course. But the signs are already showing on the ground, it seems. Iran has been launching drones targeting U.S. bases. Iran has got advanced weaponry, including newer types of drones. The Russians have got them all. And if these reports are true, then the success of Iranian strikes. It was earlier thought that Iran is just randomly firing swarms of drones, hoping to overwhelm the U.S. air defenses and hit the targets. But now it seems that Tehran has got the backing of Moscow. And as Trump promises a surge in attacks on Iran, the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, it seems, using Russian data to slip through the gaps, hitting early warning radars and command cells with surgical accuracy. President Trump has issued a chilling ultimatum. Nothing less than unconditional surrender will stop the rain of fire, he says. From the ruins of Beirut to the burning streets of Tehran, tens of thousands fleeing the heaviest strikes since the war started. And as Israel kills high-ranking Hezbollah commanders in Lebanon, Iran is firing back, not just into Israel, but also striking U.S. bases into Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. The joint U.S.-Israeli aerial bombardment is right now targeted on Tehran, while the B-2 stealth bombers drop 2,000-pound penetrator rounds to demolish Iran's hardened structures. Israeli jets are launching targeted strikes on Iranian missile and drone facilities. From the price of fuel at petrol pumps to electricity bills, food prices, shipping costs, factory production lines, the war in West Asia threatening to ripple through the everyday lives of millions of people around the world. A single maritime choke point has become the center of global anxiety. The Strait of Hormuz has been effectively sealed off by Iran. The narrow waterway is one of the world's most important routes for energy shipments. Shipping and market tracking firms, including Lloyd's, list intelligence and marine traffic, reporting that more than 200 oil tankers and cargo vessels are currently unable to move through the strait. The disruption has immobilized a large portion of the global tanker fleet. Around 60 very large crude carriers are among the vessels unable to transit the strait. It represents roughly 8% of the world's compliant, very large crude carrier fleet. The closure of the strait has had an immediate effect on global energy markets. Brent crude prices have been rising sharply, approaching $90 per barrel. After increasing by around 20% within a few days, insurance companies have also started withdrawing war risk coverage for vessels traveling through the area. A large share of crude oil and liquefied natural gas exported from the Gulf passes through this route every single day. Just to put this simply, when that flow slows or stops, economies far beyond West Asia begin to feel the pressure, because around 20% of the world's global oil passes through this narrow strait. Energy importers across Asia and Europe are already bracing for the consequences. Governments and shipping companies are scrambling to find alternative routes. Major shipping companies are already reacting. Danish shipping giant also cancelling multiple routes in the region as companies reassess the risks and wait for clarity on security conditions. Energy markets are also preparing for the worst case scenarios. Qatar's energy ministry has warned that a prolonged regional war could destabilize global economies and push oil prices as high as $150 per barrel if energy producers are forced to halt exports within the next 2 to 3 weeks. In fact, interestingly, AI chatbots have also been predicting the way things will stand. Washington, D.C., as per their prediction, could see the highest percentage jump because American fuel prices respond quickly to crude price changes, while London and Tel Aviv remain the most expensive overall due to higher taxes. And New Delhi's increase stays relatively limited because fuel prices are partly controlled by government policy. For countries like India, the ongoing crisis carries immediate energy security implications. India imports more than 85% of its crude oil needs and roughly half of those supplies. In fact, about 2.5 million barrels per day typically passing through the Strait of Hormuz. Liquefied natural gas exports have also been disrupted after missile and drone strikes damaged energy facilities in Qatar, forcing a halt in some production and shipments. India imports nearly half of its LNG from Qatar, which fuels city gas networks that supply compressed natural gas for vehicles and piped gas for homes. Bangladesh and Pakistan rely heavily on LNG shipments from Qatar and the UAE as well, raising the risk of power shortages, factory slowdowns, economic strain if supplies remain constrained. Across Asia, which receives about 82% of Qatar's LNG exports, energy prices are already climbing sharply. Gas prices in parts of Europe and Asia have surged, increasing the risk of inflation and slower industrial growth. So what started out as a geopolitical confrontation is rapidly evolving into a global economic crisis, because the longer the Strait of Hormuz and energy sites in West Asia remain disrupted, the more likely it becomes that households, businesses, and entire national economies will begin to feel the consequences in everyday life.